Hey, the truth is that today, more than ever, I wanted to have a good time with you. But the director, he's insisting on this scene where I have to do this thing that I really don't want to do. I don't think I can say no. This is gonna get weird. You might even see multiple me's running around, shoving dicks in the pudding. Just relax. If you need to step away, why not go to patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of therapy after my agent almost kills me, you can support this podcast. And maybe I won't have to do a scene where I do this again. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation.
And action.
Oh, that's my cue. Enjoy the show. Nobody cares about us anymore because we're tarnished and filthy. Welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only film podcast hosted by two dirty sluts. Actually, no, we're not the only ones. As usual, I am joined by Rumi Metters.
Hi.
And I am your host, Aaron J. Waseskirigo. Try saying that five times fast. It's tough.
Aaron J. Waseskirigo. Aaron J. Waseskirigo. Aaron J. Waseskirigo. Okay, I only got 3.
Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. But if you manage to do it, send me an audio file. You can go to our various podcast platforms of choice and leave links, or just tell me you did it. I'll believe you. I don't want to download a virus. Just tell me you did it. I'll believe you. You go to Patreon, you can go to YouTube, Peepa, Apple Podcasts. I have Apple Podcasts written down. I still said iTunes. Fuck me. Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict. And again, on Patreon, you can get exclusive content. You can get early content releases. You can even get access to new shows first before anyone else if you are at a certain level. And you can also listen to us in our green room, which is going to be some fun stuff. So please check out the Patreon. You know you want to. And then, yeah. Ryan, are you ready for today's movie?
I am, kind of.
It's really weird, I have to say right now, it's really weird to transition straight from the intro to the movie. We usually have that little banter bit, and it's throwing me off just a little bit.
We'll get in the hang of it. We'll get the hang of it. If you like that banter, Green Room, check it out. Today's film from our anime through the decades is Perfect Blue, released in 1997. Directed by Satoshi Kon. We'll see him again real soon. And written by Sadayuki Murai. Released based on a novel by Yoshikazu Takeuchi. This film grossed a total of 563,000 worldwide, which, based on our estimations, is a significant profit. Man, what are these numbers back in the 90s, dog?
I know, it's weird. It's really weird. Had to drink some water there. There we go. The cast includes a bunch of names I'm going to mispronounce. Warning you now. Masaki Okura. I think we've seen her before. Yoku Shiowa. Masashi Ebara. Shinpachi Tsuji. Rika Matsumoto. And Junko Iwao. Again, if you're dubbing this one, too, you'll be hearing Jameson Price. We've heard him before. Or was it? It was Jameson Pierce, that's what it was. Yuko Shiowa is also in the English cast. Robert Martin Klein, Barry Stiegler, Wendy Lee, and Bridget Hoffman. Few good names there. It did win some awards, actually. Best Animated Feature from the B-Movie Film Festival. Best Asian Film from the Fantasia Film Festival. And Best Film and Animation from the Fantasporto Awards. I don't know what that is. Their name is really weird looking.
Fantasporto?
Yep.
Fantasporto?
I don't know how you pronounce it properly. I'm assuming it's...
Fantasporto? Fantasporto?
I think that's what
Fantasporto?
It is. Yeah. Portmanteau. Ryan, you got some fun facts for me?
We do have some fun facts for you.
So first up, the choreography from Mima's group Cham are not in unison. This is intentional to keep the realism of the film, which I actually noticed and really liked. You know, like it was really cool to kind of keep it nice and realistic, like actual people, because they're not perfectly in sync.
Aside from the
they're
psychedelic
close,
shit,
but they're not perfectly in sync.
Aside from the psychedelic shit, there was actually some really nice, subtle animation blips that I really got into. So
next up, in the scene where Mima is taught how to use the internet, the browser is Netscape Navigator. Now, that's a fucking throwback. At the time of the film's production, Netscape was the most popular internet browser on the planet, y'all, on the planet. But gradually declined in popularity over the following years, and ultimately development ceased for it in 2008.
It was still going in 2008? What the hell?
Yes, dude. Netscape.
I never used it. I was AOL with the free discs you get at Target, and
AOL was my first one too. Netscape Navigator. All right. Last one. The title Perfect Blue has a double meaning to it, and multiple aspects of the story actually hint to it. For example, at the end when Mima exits the hospital after seeing Rumi, the only shot is a clear sky that it appears in, meaning the confusion in Mima's life is over. So I really, really like those very subtle cues, and this movie is full of those.
Yep. No, this movie definitely is fucking on par with the subtlety. It's. I have so much I want to say, but I want to wait till we get to the deep discussion. So, we'll get some initial thoughts out of the way, synopsis, and then we'll get into it real quick. So initial thoughts for me real quick. This is good, but it also reminds me that I still haven't seen the latest season of BoJack Horseman. But yeah, it's kind of on that level, and I was really shocked how much I enjoyed this. Ryan, where are you at?
I love that your initial thought is, this is good. Sorry.
I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it without reading the synopsis. It's good.
I hear you. All right. Quickly, so I ended up watching this movie at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning before I went to sing a solo at church. Let me tell you, it is not a Sunday morning movie. However, it's a really, really good movie. It's a psychological thriller. There's so many things that you have to be paying attention to. It's really subtle, and it kind of keys up your anxiety and puts a really interesting life on pop icons in Asian cultures. So I loved it. I can't wait to talk.
Yep, I cannot wait to dive into this one. And I'm gonna give a quick note here before I forget. If any of y'all are experiencing some dead air on the podcast, just a heads up, Ryan and I are having some issues mic-wise when it comes to hearing each other, i.e., there'll be skips in the Discord chat we're going through right now. Either I can't hear when he stopped, or he can't hear when I stopped. So if there's dead air, it's because we don't know when the other one's done talking.
Yep. And if you can't hear any dead air, it's probably because Aaron is a boss-ass editor and has edited them all out.
I promise I will certainly try. Anyway, synopsis. Here we go. It's the 90s, and we follow former pop star turned actress Mimikyu as she takes on a young sister/victim in a popular Japanese crime drama. The news hits the fans of her and her music group hard. A scuffle happens at the announcement between Japanese Lurch and some street punks. But we suddenly find out Lurch probably kills one of those street punks later in the film. But that also didn't seem too surprising anyway. Her new career starts with a few lines, but explodes into full-on characters within the show. But the horrors of the series bleed into her real life, and she isn't sure what's real and what isn't anymore. People around her, including her show's writer and a lewd photo boy, who threw mountains of Mimikyu porn on the internet. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess, but gross. While all this is happening, Mimikyu sees visions of her pop idol self, taunting her for her decisions, calling her filthy or a slut for allowing those photos to go public, or for agreeing to do a rape scene in a show. Yes, we'll get into that. This is compounded when a fan site posts about her life in extreme detail as if she's the one writing the post. She can't tell if this vision is real and doing horrible things on her behalf, or if she's losing her mind and doing things as if possessed by some kind of rogue spirit. As the film ends, it is revealed that she does actually have a stalker who is out to kill her for tarnishing her own image. But he wasn't alone. He was working with Mimikyu's agent, Roomba. Roomba takes on a guise of Mimikyu's pop persona and attempts to murder Mimikyu. Chasing happens. When Mimikyu rips off Roomba's disguise, Roomba takes a pause, panics, and nearly kills herself. The film ends with Roomba in a mental hospital suffering from split personality disorder. Mimikyu winks at the camera after looking at the blue sky, confirming that she now knows who she is. Roll credits. Yeah, that was a movie.
Mimikyu and Roomba. Thank you, sir.
So, jumping way ahead here, Ryan, because I have a slight nitpick with this film that bugs me, but it's only in the last, 5 seconds. Did the shot with Mima winking at the camera and dropping that line before really upbeat music played really fit the tone for you? Because I don't feel like it did for me.
So, I think it did for me in the sense that I was still confused as fuck at the end. I was like, what happened? Did she end up in the mental? No, wait, but... What? Yeah, I was left kind of spinning. I think it fit the overall tone of the movie, but I think it was because the overall tone of the movie was so disjarring and kind of keeping you on your toes as to what's real or not. So it was just that last little bit of, wait, is she or is she not? That I think really put the exclamation point on it. It's just like, boop.
I mean, maybe, but I was so the whole film is essentially her just losing her mind as to what reality is and what isn't. There's an episode of BoJack Horseman that's very similar. There's Shutter Island, which is kind of similar in a way. And I don't know. I feel like this is such a complex issue that really does actually affect people in terms of identity crisis and whatnot, and all this stuff. And I feel like it might just be a little too lighthearted and a little too kitschy for what this film's overall narrative kind of was. It doesn't detract the movie for me at all. It's like I said, the last 5 seconds, the whole journey was great. The last 5 seconds, I'm just sitting here wait, what the fuck is this all about?
Where I agree with you on at the last point of the movie is if the last moment is really her self-assured in who she actually is, which I 100% buy. It definitely ramps to that well. But if that is the case, then yeah, I would settle for something not as disjarring, where it's just wait, what the fuck is actually happening? As opposed to allowing you to be as secure in the ending as Mima is, where she's I know who I am. I'd have given it a more solid ending to kind of yes, no, the ride is over. I know who I am.
But that being said, though, loved every minute going up to that. It's quite a ride. And we have a lot to talk about here. Before we get into any of the other questions I got here, though, Ryan, is there anything you personally want to bring up before we get into that?
No, man, I'm going to run with your questions. I'll probably talk far too long, but I'm going to run with these questions.
Hey, it's fine. I have to ask, though. I have to make sure I get everyone's piece in there, so.
No, I like it.
So, to start off with, Mima in particular, does she present much of a personality? And what about the supporting cast? Are there any personalities that stand out to you?
I think Mima's distinct lack of a personality in and of itself is a personality.
Okay.
I think it's a conscious choice by the story because as a celebrity, as a pop icon, you gotta so much of your thought is on your public image and changing it to please the most people, as many people as possible, that it's easy to become kind of inherently fake to everybody that you come across. So her not being able to kind of take that mask off at the end, when she's by herself, or just not having much of a personality while she's by herself, rings true to me because it's kind of like she gets to take a break from like acting for other people. Since she's by herself, she just gets to be quiet, and I like that.
I kind of understand that. It's kind of like giving a blank slate for the audience to kind of easily mesh with, so when all the chaos happens, they can kind of project their emotions and their feelings as to what's going on with her, because it's kind of like Link in Legend of Zelda. I know, I did it unintentionally.
You did it!
But no, it's like a blank slate, like silent protagonist character, except she talks a bit. But no, it's basically just allowing the people to kind of more easily sympathize with her, because there's no distinct like personality clash she's doing with anybody. She's just kind of living her life, and we're just kind of along for the ride as everything else just tries to shit on her, and it works. I think it works for what they're trying to do.
I think that's definitely part of it, but I honestly think because there was a good part of me that identified with her, because I am if y'all don't know me outside of this, I am a fairly loud person. I'm a fairly personable person. I like to talk to people. I like to be helpful. I'm very charismatic and really charming. When I'm by myself, there are times when I'm just very quiet, and I'm not having to.
Myself.
What the fuck was that? Wait, what?
Oh, there's a song,
Wait,
right?
what?
It's all by myself. Yeah, it's a song.
Oh shit! So your mic was cutting out in the midst of that, and I was getting really disturbed. I'm sorry.
Oh, my apologies. I meant to make that a background joke, and it's gonna stay in there like a fucking weird one-off distraction.
I was briefly haunted. My bad. But no, there are moments when I'm by myself. I can be very, very quiet because I'm not having to interact with other people. There are some times where like really big personalities, when they're by themselves, they're just very quiet and reserved. It's kind of like a introvert extrovert kind of dynamic there. So read true for me. That really did.
I can relate. When I'm not podcasting or when I'm not having to be around people. Even when I'm with Amanda sometimes, because she's kind of the same way, we'll both just kind of, take a moment to just quiet down, calm down, just kind of relax a bit. So, not really a lot of talking, just, chilling out, reading or watching a thing, just zoning out. But, no, I get you. You can't always be on all the time, so I feel it. Okay. This one I think is interesting. Due to its repetition of use, do you think there's a deeper significance behind Mima's line, "Excuse me, who are you?" And if so, what do you think that deeper meaning is?
Well, I mean, considering the amount of time she A, spends in a mirror, B, sees pictures and images and video of herself, and C, ends up talking to the disembodied, idea of her as a pop star. I mean, her constantly asking, "Who are you?" can absolutely be taken as like the reflection of the fact that she doesn't know who the fuck she is right now. I mean, not only is the life of a celebrity really difficult in what we were just talking about, having to be on and so many different people for so many different fans, to put up this false image of yourself for everybody else's consumption. It would absolutely be easy for you to figure out who you actually are, as opposed to the very many masks that you put on for everybody else. So I think it's just a great line that calls towards her internal struggle of just trying to figure out who the fuck she is.
And it's not like she's even trying to question herself at that point. She's just trying to read a line, but it fits thematically so damn well.
It really does.
And the thing is, at that point in the film when it's repeating, you aren't really thinking about it. You're just like, oh, okay, she's just getting ready for her show. By the end of the film, though, you think back on it, it's like, oh, fuck, that was something else, wasn't it? So, it's definitely a questioning of definitely herself and maybe even the world around her a little bit. Because, I mean, at a point, she doesn't know what's real and what isn't. So, I mean, yeah, it's safe to say she might be questioning not only herself, but all those around her. Who are they? What are they after her for? Or are they after her? I don't know. it definitely seems like she's not comfortable within herself or with the world around her, and you feel that very hard in like the third act pretty well.
Oh man, yeah. I you're questioning everything you see on screen at that point. By the third act, you question every single thing that happens.
So I'm going to jump ahead to a question real quick, and we'll come back to these. But so Ryan, was there a point when you believed Mima could have been the killer?
Yes! Oh, 100%! I was like, did this bitch just haul off and kill these people? Oh no!
Okay, so there's a scene in the film where you see Mima actually stabbing and murdering the photo guy. I don't remember his name. The photo boy, basically. Now, knowing what we know going into that scene, my thinking is this is in her head. She's not actually doing this. But she doesn't even believe that. She believes that is something that actually happened to her. It's like a memory got implanted in her head or something. And there's even evidence in the apartment to put her there. And so
that's what really killed me.
And so you're left with
that she had the bloody clothes in her room. I'm like, what the fuck?
And you're left with this question of what is actually happening. So like, is that the point where you were starting to question her a bit too?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I mean, like it was just after the photo shoot. You could tell that she wasn't comfortable with it, but she was trying to do it for her career. She has that breakdown in her room where she's like, of course I didn't want to do the scene. Of course I didn't want to do those photos. And like, she's kind of like destroying herself and like kind of losing her grip on reality. And then when you hear about the guy getting stabbed,
and you're
like yeah, it's like superimposed where she's seeing herself stab this dude. And at that point, I'm like, she's imagining what it would have been like to have actually done it herself. But then you see the bloody clothes, and that's where I'm like, holy shit, did she disassociate and actually kill this person? Is she actually responsible for the murders that are happening? Is her disassociation that bad? Oh God!
And honestly, I was questioning all the way up until near the end when Rumi's wig got torn off, because the entire chase sequence, I'm sitting here watching this, I'm like, is Rumi actually trying to kill her, or is she trying to help her and she's thinking Rumi's trying to kill her? Because that was a valid read for me at that point, until the wig came off and like, oh, that actually is Rumi and she actually is trying to kill her. Fuck.
So I caught on to it a little quicker than that. The thing that started to draw me, or like that clued me into it, was after Mimania like attacked Mimi, but she managed to get away, like before almost fucking being raped. Oh my God. I watched this on a Sunday morning. What the fuck? Anyway, like after she escapes the attack, and you see Mimania fall with his eye stabbed out, but he falls on top of the producer's body. That's when I started to think about it, because I'm like, wait, in this whole thing, Mimi has not snapped or been mad at her producer, at her agent once. So why would she kill him? If she disassociated, why would she kill him? We haven't been given that at all yet. And then, like right after that, when Rumi is like finds her and she says, "Come on, I'm gonna take you back to Mimi's room." And I'm like, wait, why didn't you just say your apartment? Because we know Mimi's room is explicitly the blog that she's been reading with all the really deep stalker shit. The fact that she said Mimi's room and not, I'm going to take you home, or I'm going to take you to your apartment. I was just like, something's weird there.
So in hindsight, yes, those are very strong clues. However, I do want to point out my logistics for overlooking those. For the producer bit, he is the guy who kind of pushed her into this direction with the acting and kind of got these jobs with these questionable morals behind him. So while we don't directly see her lash out at him, something could have been building up, and I could have believed that she would have done that at some point. The fact we didn't see it, sure, that definitely should have clued us in, but I could have believed it. As for the Mimi's room thing, so yes, I probably should have caught on then. But again, I'm operating at this point in the film like this narrator is unreliable. So for all I know, that's what she heard, and she's still losing her mind and shit. So I wasn't sure what's going on at that point still.
Definitely valid. Definitely valid. It was just like the fact that they were like, though the two things that I brought up were so subtle, but at the same time, I was so keyed in trying to take in every single like detail because I'm just trying to figure out the truth. So those two things, the fact that they didn't automatically jive for me, I was just like, wait. Like, that's all it was. It was a, wait a minute.
Wait a minute here.
It's like, wait, that's weird. Wait, that's fucking Rumi. Oh, no. Oh, Rumi, no. And I love that they did it so cleanly, with just the smallest bits. This is a wonderful fucking mystery.
I almost want to go back I almost want to go back and rewatch it just to see the clues build up to Rumi now that I know who the killer is.
It's so good. Like there aren't many. But the things that really stuck out to me, the things that stuck out to me was the fact that the agent mentioned that she used to be a pop idol and failed. And that was the big thing that kind of stuck out to me, like in hindsight, that she used to be a pop idol and failed.
Yeah, in hindsight, a lot of stuff sticks out.
Yeah. Now everything else with Rumi was pretty much, was very understandable. Like she was in tears during the filming of the rape scene, which any rational person would be, because that's fucking horrible, guy. And even the agent who had convinced her to do this was just like, wait, shit, what are we doing? Is this good? And Rumi's got like fucking tears in her eyes, so I'm like, that read perfectly fine for me. But the fact, just looking back, all of those things you could see the buildup. And the fact that she's conspicuously absent from a good portion of Act 2. You don't really see her. So it's good. I love it.
So with this in mind, the whole Mima possibly being the killer for a short stint in the movie, like we were deceived into this. Do you think it was fair for the film to deceive the audience like this, or do you think this fits really well into what the film's trying to show us?
Oh, 100%. I absolutely love what they did. This is absolutely what the film set out to do, and it fucking passed with flying colors. Mm-hmm. The concept of not knowing what is real is a concept that the main character is experiencing, but you get to really go along for the ride with them throughout the entirety of the movie, where even you're so in the character's perspective, you honestly do not know what's real at that point. And I love that they take that from being a metaphor, from just being like a person, like a public celebrity, a personality, to this whole disassociative break point that she's going through. I think tricking the audience like that is a fantastic way to really put yourself in that driver's seat with the protagonist as well. And so you feel like a roller coaster, like you went on a roller coaster of emotions with them.
Absolutely. No, I loved it. Like I said before, it reminded me of an episode of BoJack, reminded me of Shutter Island. I love movies that have unreliable narrators. You don't know what's going on, and by the time you get to the end of the film, it's like, oh, that's what happened. Like, this works for me on a lot of levels. I very highly speaking of this one, very, very much so. Got another question I want to hit up before we get too long. Let's see, what's next? Oh yeah, there it is. How nostalgic were you to see the early years internet, and does it seem accurate enough to you? Why or why not?
There is no modem sound. I didn't hear no modem sound.
Fuck, there's no modem sound. You're right. Fuck. Nope. 4 out of 10. Try again. 4 out of 10.
I loved seeing Netscape Navigator, but there was no... No, there was none of that.
Well, Ryan, you have to...
Damn.
Okay. We put it off long enough, Ryan. Let's talk about the rape scene. Now, we do...
Do we have to? I saw this on a Sunday morning.
I want to say this, and it's gonna sound horrible when I say it the first time, so let me clarify up front. The rape scene, for those who are just tuning in, I don't know why you tune in at 30 minutes into an active podcast, but good on you. It's a scene in which no one is actually raped. So Mima is a character within the show, playing a character within the show in the show. If you can follow my logic here. She's an actress. Come on. And so she's playing a character who is being raped within this show, meta show. Let's call it the meta show. So no actual penetration, no actual violence. It's just an act, basically. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to sound horrible. I actually really like this scene because it kind of feels like a pivot point from the very bland toast life she had to this dark, twisted reality she's now trying to decipher. And I like just the one part where the guy's on top of her and they have to cut so they have to hold her position, and he just whispers in her ear. He's like, "I'm sorry."
And he says, "I'm sorry."
This is really
He
uncomfortable.
says, "I'm so sorry."
And she's like,
Oh
"No,
my
it's
God.
fine." And I was like, "God, this is so great."
Oh, dude. Oh man, it's great in the worst way. It's like it's a powerful scene. It is a powerful scene. It works on multiple levels. So artistic? No, God, I don't want to call it artistic. Oh Jesus!
So
like
the meta
from an artistic
the meta idea
standpoint.
is artistic. What the movie's trying to do with it's artistic, but the characters making the movie with this rape scene, that's not artistic. But the scene of the rape scene is artistic. We'll call it that.
Yeah, the artifice of this scene and what it's trying to do in the movie and in the story in general is brilliant. It's so disturbing, and it is intentionally disturbing. It is intentionally disturbing because you everything about it feels wrong. It feels bad, and it's set up in the context that this girl is trying to be an actual actress. She's trying to take on a serious scene. Her agent is trying to make sure she has a place in this world. He's trying to make sure that she breaks through and makes the transition successfully from pop star to actress so that she has a much longer career. This isn't him being skeezy. This is him actually trying to make a good move for her career. But everything feels wrong. And they lean
really
into
hard.
that wrongness. They make you feel that juxtaposition. And I love that they do it. I love that they did it that way. And you're right. It really pivots the movie into a much darker tone than I thought we were going. We had the pop icon. We had the weird dude that was obsessed with her that may or may not have killed somebody because they caused a ruckus at her show. And we're like, okay, and she's trying to break into acting. Okay, this is par for the course. And then that happens, and you're like, oh, it's one of these kind of movies.
Like I said, it's hard for me to say I like the rape scene of a movie with a straight face because you don't say that kind of thing. But this is a really rare exception because again, it's not actually a rape scene, and it's done in a painfully artistic way that works with what this film is aiming for. And on a lot of levels, it's really good. And I can understand if anyone watching this is uncomfortable with this. I can understand completely because
I think you're supposed to be uncomfortable. I think that's the big thing about it. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Well, let me rephrase it then. If you're triggered by this scene, I can get it because they do kind of sell it pretty well. And that's what makes it really hard to swallow. No pun intended. I probably shouldn't have said that. But But, no, I understand if this is not a scene for you. I understand if you have to skip this scene. I totally do. But I think for what it does in the film, for the characters and everything, it breaks the characters, it makes everyone have to rebuild, it has everything pivot from what we had before to what we have now. Everything works really well because this scene pivots everything in just the right way and changes everything with a snap. It's really good, and I hate saying that I like this scene as much as I do. I really do.
It's a swerve point. Like, honestly, it becomes an entirely different movie, like, with that scene. And, like, it's like, I particularly love the scene because it's not glorifying the act of rape.
Nope.
And it's not like saying, oh, well, this tragedy had to happen to this female character because female characters need inexplicable tragedy in order for their characters to grow. No, it's not saying that at all. It's addressing, like, true to life realities that people go through and showing them in as ugly as it is, because it is that. Like all the things that they do to kind of gussy it up and, like, say, oh, it's just a scene, it's just an actress scene, you know, this is going to be great for her career, all of that shit falls to the wayside because you have to sit there and watch them film this. And even though you know objectively it's quote unquote okay, you know in your heart of hearts it's not. And that's what they're using. That's the message they're conveying with that.
And it's reminiscent of pop idols in America going into, you know, sex symbol status with their, you know, more adult labels, getting into pornography, stuff like that. It's like, it's very similar to that vein, but we know that this character is not trying to take that route. So, yeah. I don't know. This scene works on a lot of levels, and again, if it triggers you, I understand skipping it, but if it doesn't, and if you can handle it, it's powerful. It's really good. Really good. Okay. I think I have two more left that are kind of big. We'll see how quick we can tackle them.
Let's hear it.
What does this film say? Okay, I guess we tackled this one a little bit in previous questions, but if there's anything else we want to add to it, we can. What does this film say about the blurring lines of your true self and your persona you present to the world? How does this play into the larger themes of the identity crisis, and is this relevant to today? The obvious answer, of course, to that last one being yes, it's still very relevant today.
I mean, like, in an age of social media where where everybody is posting at all hours of the day, and you have people, like, putting themselves on camera feeds, just popping on just to say whatever thought that comes into your head. The concept of a public persona and, like, your inner self is definitely super important. Like, it's become even more important than it was when this movie came out. And I think this movie speaks to those things really, really, really well, because it takes someone whose life is made for public consumption, and it shows the dangers of that. When you don't know who you are the most at risk of losing yourself. And so I think, like, I think the movie definitely speaks towards the necessity of, like, self-awareness and just, like, being able to, like, know who you are deep down inside, and using that as kind of like your anchor, so that you can do whatever you want with other people, but you know who you are at the end of the day. That's what's going to keep you afloat through all the tough times.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to that too, that you know, people who go on the internet and do stuff like YouTube series or a podcast, for example, you know, don't lose yourself to your public persona. You know, be who you're meant to be. Don't hide behind some fake, you know, voices and acts and pretend you're someone else selling Patreon points and whatnot. Don't do that. Be yourself, man or woman or intermediate, whatever you want to be.
Man, woman, and intermediate. All right, next question.
No, but I do want to add one thing, though. If you like the themes of Persona, public identities and private identities, you should really play the Persona games. They do that quite a bit. It's pretty cool. Moving on to the next question. Where am I at here? Yes, last question. Can you think of another work that tackles this level of identity crisis, a horror of oneself or unreliable narrators giving us an unclear narrative, and how does it compare to this? I mean, to be fair, I've given a couple examples, and I do think they fit really well in line with this one.
Ooh,
so.
Damn. Okay, you give me yours first. I gotta think on that first.
So I've already mentioned BoJack, but I'm gonna stick to Shutter Island because the entire movie you're following this guy who's a detective, and you think that everything is like just investigating this murder or whatever this crime is going on, and then you find out as the movie goes on, things aren't what they seem. People are acting weirder than they should, and by the end of it, you realize, oh, your main character isn't a detective; he's in the institution. And the psychologists are playing detective to keep him placated. Yeah.
Man, tag your spoilers. I'm just
spoilers.
Tag your spoilers, sir.
And I mean, there's more depth and nuance to it, but that's the gist of it. And the unreliable narrator side of all that, I don't know. It's just a very interesting trope that I just love because it just makes for an interesting story that you don't quite know how it's going to go because the narrator isn't really giving you the correct flags for it. It's really well done. If it can be really well done if the right hands are involved.
Definitely. I mean, this kind of story works particularly well with like established series, and you see it done on a lot of like kind of long-standing TV shows. Like I remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer did a really, really good episode of this, and this is like 6, 7, 8 seasons in where fucking Buffy is a vampire slayer and she's done all of these things, all of these great accolades to her name, and then it says, okay, you're actually in a mental institution, and let's really break down how believable this shit that you're saying is. You're saying that you are the chosen of this generation to fight evil, and that you slay vampires and demons and have beaten back the gates of hell. Really, like good things that like establish like that really question like already established like story points. Like if they're done really well, can be really, really, really effective. I think this one takes the cake though, because it establishes itself pretty damn quickly. It doesn't need seasons of build-up to really like, well, is it actually? And then have that kind of cognitive dissonance when you're actually really trying to figure it out. But I think the journey of kind of questioning everything that you go on with this character is one of the best I've seen. And it puts you right in the driver's seat with Mima, because she doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and neither do you. And you feel that kinship with the protagonist as you're both trying to figure out what reality even fucking is. So I think this takes the cake.
Oh yeah, and like I said, it harkens back to a particular episode of BoJack Horseman. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I do respect this film in its attempt at it more, because Mimi didn't have to go on drugs and alcohol to lose her mind and become unstable. She just has the self-doubt. She has all these other outside forces impacting her life. So it goes to show that you don't have to have addiction problems to necessarily have your reality just kind of disassociate itself from you, or you disassociate from it. It could just happen through just sheer mental breakdowns and the world just fucking turning on you, and obviously stalkers and killers, but not everyone's going to deal with those. So, but yeah, no, this could happen to a lot of different people. So just something to kind of keep in mind. With that, let's get a quick shout out to the mail call. So again, we'll remind everybody, if you want to send us your responses to this episode, as well as previous episodes we're doing, or ask us questions, you can hit us up, and we'll answer your questions on the Cast, a exclusive Patreon show that we're going to be doing once a month to kind of get everyone caught up, do updates on the channel, let everyone know what's coming, what we've done. We also have exclusive episodes that'll come out once a month as well of this show. This month's exclusive episode to tie into the anime theme will be, I believe, I know we have 2 anime ones. I think the first one I've got lined up is Ninja Scroll, and then next month is Vampire Hunter D.
God, Ninja Scroll. Fuck, I haven't seen that in forever.
And like very good ones to discuss is like introductions to anime, because a lot of people use those as their introductions instead of Akira. So those felt like really good choices as well. So if you want to hear us talk about those, you can only do that on Patreon, because they're only going to come out to our patron premium subscribers. So go there. And again, if you want to hear us respond to your tweets, Tumblrs, responses, or comments down below, or emails, you have to go to patreon.com/evacstation and sign up. And Ryan, if they want to email us for us to respond to, where can they email to?
They can email us at... I watched this on Sunday fucking morning, guys! I'm sorry. That's evacstation@gmail.com. I'm still mad.
Like I said, it's funny that you watched it right when I was watching Akira, and I'm like, man, should I have switched my movies around? Should I have done this one first? Anyway.
No, I just went in completely blind and had no idea what the hell I was getting into.
With that in mind, let's go ahead and rank our film. Again, for those who don't know the score, the review score is explained down below in the link. This is between platinum and shit and all the colors in between. Ryan, I think I know where I want to put this, and I need you to talk me down if you don't agree with me.
Let me hear what you're going to say first.
Ryan, this hits all my notes. This hits all the beats that you need to hit in terms of what I'm looking for in a good, like, psychological thriller kind of thing. The animation's very solid stuff with some subtlety in there. It has subtle clues lead to the end, but nothing that's gonna, like, fucking clue you in super hard until, like, the last minute, basically. And the only thing that detracts is an ending bit, but it's like 5 seconds that I can overlook, what is a 1 hour and, like, 25-minute, like, thrill ride through an entire psychedelic nightmare, basically. And it's still relevant to today. There's so many things to love about this. I don't know if I can go lower than platinum. I don't know if I can. I don't want to throw it out there, but I think I have to.
Fuck yeah, it's a platinum, dude. It's a fucking platinum. I can't talk you down. This is a pinnacle achievement of a movie that really transcends its genre. I think, we talked last week about Akira really showing the depth and the breadth of topics that can be conversed about in anime. This 100% does that. I didn't think I'd ever watch a fucking psychological thriller as an anime on a Sunday fucking morning, but here we are. I think it brings a lot of that subtlety. I mean, I think one of the best shots that I saw, and I love that they were using it in the third act, was as Rumi is chasing Mima, and she's seeing her personality, her pop star personality, just gleefully skipping along, looking to stab the life out of her. And then when you see reflections in mirrors, it's actually Rumi just fucking hauling ass. I 100% love that. That's just one beat of several master level notes in this movie. Yeah, we gotta give the platinum. We just gotta give it.
Yeah. If you have not seen this, please check it out. We would not give it this platinum rank if we didn't. Perfect Blue, yeah. Perfect Platinum, am I right?
Damn it. I got stuck between wanting to agree but hating the pun.
I don't know if we're going to be able to match this one, but next week, Satoshi Kon returns with, what are we doing? What's it? Paprika, that's what it's called. Which I have already seen, gotten a little bit of a heads up because I wanted to see how it compared to this, and I've got some words, I got some thoughts, but we're looking forward to hearing what you got, Ryan. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you'll have to tune in next week for my thoughts on that one as well.
Yep, indeed. You can tune in here, or you can on any platform of choice, or you go to patreon.com and get it a little early. Up to you guys. But until then, we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.